Alrighty, and welcome back to the Mother-Daughter Disney Podcast. My name is Amanda, and I'm here with my very lovely co-host.
Hi, I'm Jeanette.
Yes, and today we are going to be going over the Germany Pavilion in Epcot. We're going to do a full deep dive. This is part of our series of doing deep dives into all of the Epcot World Showcase pavilions. And today I thought it would be fun to do Germany since the Christmas season is coming up, and I feel like Germany Christmas is like a thing. You know, people always kind of think of Germany and Christmas together. So I thought that would be kind of fun to do. So I've done a lot of research for this. I will have all my links in the description of this podcast. So if you want to check out any of my sources, definitely go check that out. I will say a lot of it is coming from Wikipedia. So thank you to the people who make Wikipedia. There's a lot of information there.
Give us all the details.
Yeah, for sure. So some history. The Germany Pavilion opened on October 1st, 1982, meaning it is one of the original pavilions. At the time when they were designing and constructing the pavilion, it was the mid to late 70s and early 1980s. So at the time, Germany was split into the West and East Germany. So the Germany Pavilion was supposed to be on the shared traditions of German folklore and traditions and not really focusing on either or the West or the East. And it was supposed to be more similar to the original Norway Pavilion that was very focused on like Maelstrom sort of. Eventually though, the German reunification didn't occur until 1990. Supposed to kind of like, even in the beginning, they were like, let's just do both. They weren't just going to pick one or the other. The Germany Pavilion is designed to look like a German town, but with architecture from different eras and regions, such as the replica of the medieval castle to the fairy tale Bavarian style buildings. There's also a clock tower that features a glockenspiel that chimes a special melody on the hour. A glockenspiel is a type of instrument, is what I've learned recently. It's kind of like a xylophone, but it's a little bit different. I didn't know what that was. Also, I want to say too, I do not speak German, so I apologize for any mispronunciations of any of these German words. The Platz, or the square, is decorated with a statue of St. George and the Dragon and inspired by the statue in the medieval Bavarian town of Rothenburg ob der Tauber and a clock tower. I'm so sorry. Rothenburg ob der Tauber, I know that's not how you say it, so sorry to everyone, is in the district of Ansbach of Mittelfranken, which is Middle Franconia, the Franconia region of Bavaria, Germany. The town itself is well known for its well-preserved medieval old town and is a destination for tourists around the world. It is part of the popular romantic road through southern Germany, and today it is only one of 3 towns in Germany that still have completely intact city walls, and the 2 others are Nordlingen and Dickensbuhl. I'm so sorry.
Well, I would think that, like I said, anybody who's been to Germany obviously notices all those details, like we notice the details in the other pavilions that we've been to.
Yeah, I will say neither of us have been to Germany ever, and neither of us have any German heritage. So my mom is Italian, my dad is Irish. My partner has a little bit of German heritage, but I'm Chinese, so none of us have anything tied to Germany or anything. Right. All right, so the name Rothenburg ob der Tauber is German for Red Castle above the Tauber, and this is so because the town is located on a plateau overlooking the Tauber River. As to the name Rothenburg, some of it is come from the German words Rot, which means red, and Berg means like medieval fortified settlements, and it's referring to the red color of the roofs of the houses which overlook the river. And the name may also be in the process of redding or rotten in Germany for the flax for linen production, since they used to make linens back in the day. Don't mind if you hear my cat in the background, so sorry. When you look up photos of this town and then you look at the German pavilion, they look exactly alike. It is kind of crazy.
Oh, really?
It is like
as if
that is exactly what the town looks like, just much larger.
Yeah.
All right, in the center of our little square here, in the center of our Platz, there is St. George and the dragon. This is a statue of St. George slaying a dragon. So,
oh my God, I've never even noticed the statue. Now, obviously, next week when we go there, we're going to have to stop and look at it.
So say the statue is not gory in any way. Right. I love dragons and dragon lore and everything my whole childhood. My mom used to buy me books on dragons. So I have known of St. George and the dragon for a long time. For a while, he was one of my favorite dragons, the dragon itself, because the dragon has very interesting lore around himself. And there's a lot of different depictions of St. George and the dragon over history, over different cultures. The one that Disney has of the statue is, I would say, is a very tame version of it, of course.
Well, of course,
it is not that crazy or not that, anything like that.
Right.
So, obviously kids can see it and they wouldn't be, disturbed or anything like that. But the legend of St. George and the dragon, so usually it's some kind of soldier in some kind of Christianity, lore, and he defeats a dragon. So the main story goes that the dragon was extorting this village of gifts. So basically they would bring him livestock, tributes, gold, anything that the dragon would want. And eventually, as they're running out of livestock, they started doing a human person every year, so like one sacrifice of a human. So usually they would draw names from a hat. This is from all different folklore, just what I know. And funny enough, the humans were kind of okay with that they would just pick one person at random.
One person is going to go, okay.
Until the princess was picked. So when she was picked, that was when it became a problem, which is pretty sad if you think about it. It only matters when the royals are being picked. But anyway, the St. George himself then decided that, that wasn't acceptable. So he went and slayed the dragon, basically. So that's kind of essentially how the story goes. Don't mind my cat in the background. All right, so also part of the pavilion, just a little overview. There's the beer garden, which is at the rear of the courtyard. This is one of the restaurants.
But I think that's why we don't see the statue, because the beer garden's there. So I guess it's like we don't walk through the beer garden.
No, the statue is before the beer garden.
It's right in
the
front
beer
of it?
garden is what the restaurant is called.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. If you
But they have something outside.
Not really.
No? Oh,
Not sure what
wow.
you're
We
thinking.
really don't
If
go
you
to the middle
stand
of it.
right in the entrance of the Germany Pavilion, the
You can see the
statue is
statue?
right in front of you.
Okay. I'll have to take better note of it next week. I promise.
Because I guess there's some table and chairs that are part of like the wine cellar.
Yes, I think there is something there.
So yeah, there's
Okay.
table and chairs,
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
pretty sure. But I'm pretty sure if you just walk right in, it's right there.
in. Okay. I'll take better notes.
All right. Also in the pavilion, there's lots of shops,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll go over the shops. And there's also an extensive model village and a model train. We'll also kind of go over
Mm-hmm.
that as well. And then there's also characters that you can meet and greet as well, and we'll go over that. So first, let's start with the dining. So first, there's the Beer Garden restaurant. This is a buffet-styled restaurant designed to look as though Oktoberfest is always being celebrated there, a forever Oktoberfest. The restaurant is a typical Bavarian village with flags of every German style, numerous facades, and a running watermill. The table features long communal benches for seating, as well as a band playing German folk music. And the restaurant is buffet style. It's offering dishes such as schnitzel, bratwurst, kielbasi, rouladen, spatzel, sauerkraut, sauerbraten, cucumber salad, and strudel, and beer served in 1 liter steins. So yeah, so we've never eaten at this restaurant. We haven't.
No.
We've never eaten there, right?
No. One time we were trying to eat there. You walked in, looked at the buffet, and said, "Nope, don't like anything
Yeah.
on it."
The
We
first
walked
thing
right out.
is that we just don't really eat buffet style
No.
food. We're not big buffet people. And the second is that a lot of German food tends to be a bit heavier and
Yes,
on the meat
heavy
heavy
food.
side. And when I was a child, I was a very picky eater. I didn't really eat a lot of that.
Yeah, it's
fancy
not that it
food.
didn't look good.
Yeah.
Like I said, Daddy would like that kind of food.
Oh, for sure.
Yes,
I think
'cause-
Ted would too, my partner.
Yes, because
Yeah.
they like that kind of all the bratwurst and the macaroni and
Yeah, the fun
cheeses and
meats,
the
yeah.
potatoes and everything. It is very, very heavy food.
Yeah, heavy meats.
Yes,
Yeah.
so we never really tended to go that way. And like I said, it is buffet, and we tend to like to, once we've been walking around all day, to sit down and not have to get up and down to get my own food.
Yes, that's true too. So we've never actually eaten there before,
Yes.
but I have heard people really like it,
Yes.
and that the food is good if you like that style of food.
And it does have that atmosphere when you walk in. It's
Yes.
very, like you look at it and go, oh, wow. You know, because I've been to German restaurants, like, in New York City and New Jersey and whatever, and it has that look.
Yeah. All right. They also have a quick service restaurant called Summerfest. It's a quick service, but they do serve regular food there. This is from actually Disney's website, so I forgot. Snack on Deutsche Delicacies at this walk-up eatery at World Showcase, from bratwurst and sauerkraut to jumbo pretzels, German beer, and wine. So that's what Disney has to say about that. That's also kind of
That's
in the
like
back
a
as
cart
well.
on the
Yeah.
side. Yes.
No, it's not a cart. It's like
that's
in
not
the
the
back.
cart? It's in the back?
It's in the
Okay.
back, yeah. All right, shopping. There is a lot of shopping in the German Pavilion. There's a lot of stores, and each store has its own name. A lot of the stores are connected, so if you walk through, it just feels like
We've
one
done
big
that,
store.
obviously.
But no, technically all the stores are separate stores. So first we have Das Kaufhaus. This translates to the department store. They sell soccer related items like soccer balls, jerseys, and other soccer things. There's Der Teddy Bar, which is the teddy bear. A toy shop with stuffed animals, medieval themed toys, finger puppet theaters, and of course teddy bears. There is Die Weihnachtssektor, which is the Christmas corner. Christmas items like ornaments, stockings, and Christmas decorations. There's Caramel Couche, Caramel Cuisine. This is where they sell the Werther's caramel, and this is the one that smells so good, kind of right in the beginning where they pop the
Right,
popcorn
that's right in the
and they sell
front. Yeah, it
caramel.
catches your attention.
There's Volkskunst, which stands for folk art. They sell beer steins in all sizes, including an Epcot limited edition series. There's felt hats, cowbells, original Black Forest cuckoo clocks, and hand-painted eggs. And they also sell books such as The Grimm's Fairy Tale, Berlin, Then and Now, and a 400-year history of the Stein. There's also Weinkeller, which is a wine cellar that sells assorted German wines. There's Steinhaus, which means stone house. They sell beer steins, themed shirts, and more. And there's also Glaskunst, which is glass, which is the outdoor shop that's kind of along the pavilion, like the
Right.
World Showcase Lagoon. And they sell Arabes glassware, and they also offer engraving as well. All right, so for some entertainments, so there is that miniature village and railway. It is really lovely. It is called the Romantic Road Miniature Train Village. It is a small outdoor model garden railway. It was originally created for the Flower and Garden Festival, but then was kept to its popularity. And the trains used in the exhibit are LGB and Pico. I don't really know a lot about trains. I'm not sure what that
I don't know
means.
much about it, but it is a nice. It's a big.
Yes, it's very large.
setup,
You can
too.
literally walk
Yes.
through it yourself. For each festival as well, Epcot will update the little flags in the little model train for whatever festival is going on in Epcot
Yeah.
itself. So there's a lot of little details.
Little
in there.
details that you have to stop and look
Yeah,
at to
lots
pay
of little
attention
characters you
to.
can kind of look at, see what they're doing. You can watch the train. The trains are always going. So I thought it was interesting that it was so popular that they kept it year round, even though it was only supposed to be Flower and Garden. There's also lots of different meet and greets you can do. So Snow White White is the main person you can meet and greet here. And there was also, when I scrolled up, there was some up here too. Sometimes you can meet the 7 dwarves as well, apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
so
I've never seen them. Okay.
I've never seen them either, so I'm not sure. Maybe it's like special.
I'm not so sure. I haven't seen
hours.
1 or 2 when she's been out, like when we walk by, that I haven't
I
seen
feel like I've
one
seen
with
Dopey
her.
before.
Yes, with her.
Yeah.
But not that I've seen 7 of them at
I don't
one
know if
time.
I've ever seen all 7, but
Yeah.
I think I've
That would
definitely
be
seen
interesting.
Dopey there before. But
Yeah.
but she's the big meet and greet, of course, is Snow White. There's also the Born to Polka performances. So that is like the folklore German band that they have like a little like a performance stage that's right next to the pavilion. So that's where they perform, and they have certain hours that they perform at. There's also the DuckTales World Showcase Adventure. This is actually an app you download on your phone that you can play in the parks.
Oh, okay.
That was on the website when I looked it up. I thought it was kind of funny because I don't think I've ever really heard of that. And there is hidden Mickey in this pavilion. So if you're facing Germany and you look at the second floor of the building to the right, there are 3 suits of armor. The crown of the third one has a hidden Mickey. And if you also check out the mini train area and the ironwork holding the hanging baskets near the teddy bear shop in the model train arena,
okay.
there's also a hidden Mickey there. I did know about the one in the model train, but I didn't know the one about the statues of armor or the suits of armor. And so for some formal entertainment, there used to be the Kim Possible World Showcase Adventure and the Agent P World Showcase Adventure, which obviously have now been replaced with the DuckTales World Showcase Adventure.
Right, DuckTales have taken over.
All right, and the last little thing here that I have is on the potential ride that almost came to be.
Wow.
The original design of the pavilion called for a boat ride along the Rhine River. According to the Walt Disney Company, in the 1976 annual report, the ride was to be, in quotes, a cruise down Germany's most famous rivers, the Rhine, the Tabar, and the Ruhr, and the Isar. I'm so sorry, I know I'm saying those incorrectly. They would detail miniatures of famous landmarks, which would be seen like as you go along.
Wow, that would have been
including
nice.
One of the Cologne Cathedral. So obviously this was not built, and instead the restaurant was built. So that's what I was saying before, was that the entrance to the restaurant was supposed to be the entrance to like where the queue for the line.
Right.
So additionally, although not necessarily meant to accompany the Rhine cruise idea, the other idea for a ride at the German pavilion was going to be the Matterhorn bobsleds. So even though these are actually located in Switzerland, they wanted to put the Matterhorn maybe in Epcot, which is because they're so popular in Disneyland in California. And again, though the pavilion itself was built, Disney never constructed the ride sections behind it. So again, specifically for the Matterhorn bobsleds, they never actually got around to doing that and decided not to do the river either. And then it was announced to be part of a future expansion, the boat ride, but it never received the funding. So the remains of the ride entrance gate and foyer are to the right of the beer garden entrance, which are now used as a dining area. So if you were standing in front of the beer garden entrance, you can kind of tell where it is because you enter the entrance kind of to the left, and then there's a big kind of mural, and then to the right. There's like just tables and seating. That is where the queue, so to speak, was supposed to be the entrance to the ride.
Okay.
A mural covered wall closes off a small space behind it, originally for the ride load and unload areas, which is now used for storage, a workshop, and a cast member rehearsal space. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting that there was supposed to be a huge ride here. I feel like, again, Italy was supposed to also have a huge ride.
Right.
Some of these pavilions we've been going over were supposed to have these big rides.
It's a shame because I would think that would be a boon for that, is if they started to put some 1 or 2 extra rides in there, because the Mexican ride is always so popular and Frozen is so popular. And, you know, when you want to go do this kind of stuff, it would be nice to have 1 or 2 more rides, like a variety, and that would spread out the people more too.
Yeah, I would think so. Like I would be interested to see if each one would have had something, because if you think about it, Germany doesn't even really have any entertainment that's like Germany. Like they don't even have a show to watch, you know. So the main thing they really have is the miniature train, you know, the model train set. I would say that's one of the biggest entertainment things you kind of go there to be.
Right.
Given they also have some of the most shops, I feel like, because a lot of the other pavilions have one big shop. They have multiple little shops that all kind of connect.
That's like Japan. Japan just has the drum people that come out and play. They don't
they have that whole display that's kind of like a museum on the inside that goes over.
Oh, that's right, they do. Yes, I'm sorry.
They change the display out every couple of years
display.
where they have something different about Japanese culture in there.
Yeah, they do have the display.
And Germany doesn't even really have that, which I think is interesting that they are. If you think about it too, like that's all the information I found on Germany. Germany is a very small pavilion if you think about it.
And Germany, really, the only way you get their culture is when you look at their beer steins.
Yeah.
And the things. And they have a Christmas like section with the Christmas ornaments and stuff. The pickle is their thing. The hidden pickle on the Christmas tree.
Yeah, and that's in the Christmas store. So
right. So they usually have like a Christmas tree set up in the German store with all of the pickles on the tree. So you learn the culture of Germany just by going through their stores.
Going through the stores.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like that's where you would learn the culture.
Like their toys, the Steiff toys and different toys that they have, the teddy bears and stuff. Those come from Germany. So I guess the only way you find their culture is by actually walking through those stores.
Yeah, the stores.
And seeing what they're selling and how they're selling it, and the steins, all the the different artwork on the steins and everything.
Yeah, for sure. So I would agree. But it is interesting how it is one of the smallest pavilions. Again, this is all I really found on the pavilion. So if you compare that to the Italy pavilion, the Italy pavilion was much, not necessarily larger, but there was more specific buildings in the pavilion that had more significant historic value to it. Whereas in here, it was mainly just based off that one town in Germany, which I think is fine to do.
Right.
But I feel like, I guess there just could be more.
Maybe it's because when they started, it was the other countries who were contributing and doing what they had to do.
Maybe they had less funding.
So maybe Germany, that's what Germany wanted to do. They didn't want to, put in any extra on that. I assume Germany still controls that. I know Morocco was turned over to us, but I would think that Germany maybe still controls that.
No, I don't think Germany ever controlled it. I think it was a company. Disney owns all of the World Showcase pavilions, but they were sponsored by different governments and different companies when they were first created, or like private companies or something. Siemens did sponsor a lot of them in the original days, since Siemens kind of
Siemens was a big, that was a big name involved. Interesting.
Germany was sponsored by 5 different companies: Balsen, Barrera, Beck, GmbH & Co., Gobel, Hudson Ruther, and Schmut Sohn. The sponsorship could be seen in various shops and food locations. Some of these sponsors are still present today, while newer corporate sponsors have been moved in as well. However, Disney does own the pavilion itself. Again, they were sponsored. And it also, this website also says the German pavilion is also small. And if you look at that St. George and the Dragon, I guess it's not really that obvious because I'm looking at a photo of it right now. It is a fountain with a little column, and then St. George is on a horse, and then the dragon's kind of beneath him. He has a little spear.
Well, we'll take better look at it when we go.
Well,
like I said, we've gone through all the shops.
Yeah.
I love going through the shops because it shows you, and I love teddy bears. So you go through the toy shop, it's really cute. And I've actually bought a Steiff teddy bear in there as a gift for my boss when his first son was born. Bought him a Steiff teddy bear actually from there because it is a name brand teddy bear and is a collectible. So it was, I've loved going through those shops.
No, I would agree. That's what I'm saying. That's why I really love the shops in the German pavilion. I think is really cool. Again, it's interesting to see, like, I guess just those 5 companies who sponsored it, that's what they chose to do. And then they were like, oh, this looks good.
Yeah.
So, and I guess too, I mean, like, think about how expensive it would be to put a ride in. So maybe they just,
well, that's it. And it's also expensive to maintain.
Yeah.
It's a different maintenance once you have a ride.
I think it would have been cool if each pavilion did have a little boat ride or something.
Oh,
like,
wow. That would have been, if they would have done all boat
again,
rides.
Obviously, Mexico has one. Norway has one. China does not have one. I mean, like, the African little post obviously has
nothing. Yes, except the
Germany
drums
doesn't have one.
outside the kids
Italy doesn't
play
have one. Most of the pavilions don't have rides
have
at
them.
all.
No.
And there's always been rumors of rides. Like, I know there's been the rumor of the UK pavilion ride or the UK pavilion having a ride for Mary Poppins for years now. They've talked about doing a Mary Poppins ride there, and they've never done it. And there's still rumors to this day that they're going to put in a Mary Poppins ride one day in that pavilion.
I gotta tell you, I'm not privy to what they talk about or how they do it. Obviously, I'm not in the business. But I say to myself that when, the World Showcase, if they were to put some of that extra stuff that you could go through and see some of these iconic scenes, I think it would be a boon. But
I think it would.
Like I said, who knows?
And it's funny too, because I know Germany is a fan favorite of people's pavilions because, again, it does look exactly like that little town.
Yes.
If you stay in that square and you look around, you're like, yes.
It's like when you go to Italy and you now look at Venice and say, oh my God, I was there. I saw this, I saw that.
I think the thing with the Italy pavilion, because they're covering so much of the country, you stand in there, but you're kind of like in a mix of everything. Whereas the Germany pavilion, you are in one specific town.
Place.
It's like it's same thing with Morocco too. When we did Morocco, you're in that one specific bazaar, which I think is kind of cool if you think about it in that way. That it's like it's not too mixed around, and it kind of goes over all the different cultures. Sorry if you can hear my cat on my lap right now; she's begging for attention.
But I bet you that's why, because they have all these companies sponsoring, that's why it was not done uniformly to have all those different rides. Because when they first started this, those companies, think about it when you have to hold a meeting and you've got 5 or 6 different people trying to give you their opinion of what should and shouldn't be done.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. Yeah. So again, who's going to pay for all that?
Right.
So, all right. Well, that's kind of everything I had right now for the German pavilion. I feel like it wasn't really that much, if I'm being honest.
No. But like I said, it's not something that we don't pay attention to. It's just I don't pay attention to all the detail of Germany because we never go towards the restaurant. We never stop to get food there. I'm sure Daddy and Ted have frequented the beer pavilion, the beer cart, and we did get something engraved at the Arribas Brothers right out there outside the German pavilion. So we have done things in the German pavilion. We just have not gone to the restaurant. So I think that stops our purview of what we've seen and how much we've actually taken in.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anything else I can find real quick on Google, and that's for the most part.
Yeah, Germany's kind of a quiet pavilion. You go, you look, you see.
The facade of the art and bookshop was inspired by Kaufhaus, a 16th century merchant's hall in Freiburg in the Black Forest. Statues on the building recall the rule of the Habsburg emperors. An exterior facade was copied from a 400-year-old town hall in Rumsburg Square in Frankfurt. So just some things like that. So again, I'll put all my links in the below if you would like to deep dive further yourself into Germany.
Lots of little details.
Yeah. All right, but for now, we'll transition to a little bit of Disney news. So this is a pre-recorded episode. I just wanted to point out some of this news may be old at this point, so I apologize about that. But in general, there are lots of new Christmas merch in the parks right now. There's lots of gingerbread pins, regular pins, everything for the holidays. I want to note too, Blizzard Beach is back open, but Typhoon Lagoon is now closed for refurbishment. So I thought that was kind of funny. Tokyo Disneyland has debuted a holiday version of the Electrical Parade. So if you're kind of missing the nostalgia of the Electrical Parade, Tokyo Disneyland now kind of has a version of it. But again, it is holiday themed. It looks really fun, of course. I think everything in Tokyo Disneyland always looks kind of fun.
I know, they always look like they're having fun.
There's a new Christmas show in Magic Kingdom called The Frozen Holiday Surprise. It is a projection and stage-based show on Cinderella's castle featuring everyone's favorite Frozen characters. The exterior of Tiana's Bayou Adventure is currently being put up right now, so as people walk by, you can see the workers kind of working on what the new exterior will look like. I put this in my notes, but there are a bunch of Skittles-related treats. I guess Disney now has some
big Skittles.
Yeah, some big sponsorship with Skittles. I guess, because you're seeing all these like Skittles, like, you know, cookies.
Used to be
and
M&Ms,
treats
now it's
and,
Skittles.
Yeah, marshmallows and everything. It's interesting. There is a Candleman figurine that has been added to the that has been added to the Haunted Mansion scene, and that's part of the attic scene now. This prop resembles a Candleman, a character who has long been popular in the Haunted Mansion mythos and was designed by Raleigh Crump. So yes, a new figurine in there. There is a new Pandora jewelry location at Epcot. It's kind of in those shops by the lagoon. Yeah, so if you want to see any more Pandora jewelry, you can shop it out in Epcot. And the big news that happened at this point a couple weeks ago, honestly, almost like a month ago, but that we're mentioning in this podcast, is that Arendelle has now opened in Hong Kong Disneyland. So it is a whole new land where you can literally walk around Arendelle, and it's complete with a whole castle and everything. It's very similar to Radiator Springs and Disney's California Adventure. So if you've been there before, you literally walking around Radiator Springs, this is exactly what Arendelle looks like. The characters seemingly are free to walk around, similar to Galaxy's Edge, where there's no like meet and greets. So you just kind of like walk around as if they live there. But I can't really tell that necessarily. I can't tell they were just walking to their meet and greets if they just happen to be walking around.
Okay.
And no one really was posting about it at the time. At the time of me recording this, no one was posting about it. But it did look like Kristoff was just walking around. Yeah, having a good time. Wandering Dakin's Sliding Sleighs roller coaster. It looks like a Snow White's roller coaster, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs roller coaster. It looks very similar to that. It's a very short ride. I watched the full ride through of it. It's only about a minute and a half. And it's a very like kid-friendly coaster, I would say. There's also a new Frozen-themed suite in Hong Kong Disneyland Hotel to honor the new land. It looks really fun. It's very festive, I would say. It's very themed, but it's also very fancy too. I guess their hotel is a very fancy hotel, so it's like a whole new themed suite. They also have a Frozen drone show as well for the land. So I think at night they have this whole drone show that kind of lights up the sky. And of course, there's a lot of cute Frozen treats like ice cream cones and candy apples and marshmallow treats that are decorated to be Olaf, Elsa, Anna, Kristoff, all the main characters that we love in Frozen. It looks so cool, honestly. And I think this is what Hong Kong Disneyland needed, because everyone kind of knows that was always like the lowest, you know, the lowest totem pole park out of all the international parks, including like the ones in America, all the parks in total. That one was always the worst because it had the least. It just didn't have much.
It started to add to it. Okay.
Yeah, it had a lot less than Magic Kingdom, a lot less than any of the other Asian parks as well. It just didn't have much. And now it's the only park that has Arendelle. So how cool is that? So now if you go there, that is like exclusive to Hong Kong Disneyland. I wonder if any of the other parks will try then to do their own version of Arendelle or do like another land that's like more special to them or something. But not really sure though. But yeah, but now because of that, I would like to visit Hong Kong Disneyland, because originally that was my last one that I wanted to visit. But I mean, like that, I only have 3 more to visit, I suppose. I have Shanghai, Disneyland, or Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Tokyo, or the 3 I haven't been to.
You just go do all 3 at the same time.
Yeah, that would be a lot of traveling. They're not close to each other. No, but just because they're in Asia, they're quite far away.
Make that trip around Asia.
Yeah, they're quite far away from each other.
Take a couple of weeks.
All right, and let's transition to some Disney birthdays. So first, we have on November 27th, the day that this podcast comes out, is Kronk's birthday. So happy birthday to Kronk. On November 30th, we have Hector. So happy birthday to Hector. And on December 3rd, we have Natasha Romanoff. So happy birthday also to Natasha. And then also I have some birthdays in my own life. Also November 30th is my friend Mia's birthday, my friend from college. So happy birthday to Mia. And on December 1st is my cousin Lisa's birthday. So happy birthday also to Lisa. And last is our Disney memory. So we reached our last segment. Do you have a Disney memory for today's podcast?
See, my favorite Disney memory from Germany, I just shared recently, because it's the fact that we were there when we were getting that mug engraved for Luke. It was, oh God, it was so cold. It was so cold. And they were taking, they were doing the engraving, and we had to wait outside. And you and I went into the German Pavilion, because in the Werther's section, they were doing the caramel popcorn. And that was the first time we ever walked in there. And that's what I shared just recently. But I have to say also, my memory is going through the Christmas and seeing the pickle on the tree. And I was like, what the hell? These little pickles hanging all over the tree. And learning the pickle. I didn't know anything about the pickle myth, about finding who finds the pickle on the tree and the good luck and all that kind of stuff.
The main thing is whoever finds the pickle uncle receives like an extra like present on Christmas.
So that I learned that from there. So that's a memory for me that, when we go through these shops, it just triggers something that says, oh, that's where I learned that. So that was my memory.
Yeah, no, for sure. I guess I would say a recent one, because when my partner came to Epcot for one of the first times, he really wanted to drink around the world. I think he only got 4 out of the 11 pavilions over the course of the 2 days we were in Epcot. But he really wanted to get beer at the German pavilion. That was like his number one thing. He said, we gotta go to Germany. He's gonna get his beer at 10:30 or 11 in the morning. So he got his beer, and that was when I was taking all the photos. So the photo I'm gonna use today for today's Instagram post will be of the fountain that's in the middle of the German pavilion. And that's when I was taking it. And that was when I realized that was supposed to be St. George and the Dragon, because it's not like a very large statue.
Because you took the time to actually look at it.
Yeah, it's not like a super large statue. But when I saw that, I was just so amazed, because again, that was one of my favorite dragon like stories when I was growing up that I was reading about. And one of my favorite pieces of artwork in the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum up in Boston, Massachusetts, is of St. George and the Dragon. I wrote an entire short story about that piece of artwork that's about the lore of St. George and the Dragon. So when I saw that in the German pavilion, I didn't realize that. And I was like, that's so cool, which I really love that you could be going, I've been going to the Disney parks my whole life, and yet I will still find something new every single time I go, a new detail that I just never noticed before. I never thought about, when I was a kid, and now I see it as an adult. And
well, these podcasts are making me think more about things. Like I said, a lot of times when you were young, we were rushing through to go do this, go do that. You don't stop to think, to look. Now that we're doing that, I'm learning more and more about all the details and all the things that go on in the park myself.
Yeah, no, for sure. So it is kind of fun. Yeah, do you have anything else you wanted to add for this week's podcast? Well, thank you so much for listening to the podcast today. Make sure you give us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and also to leave a comment below if you're watching on YouTube. And make sure you're following us on social media. We are currently Space Your Birth Design everywhere. It will also be linked in the description. And again, I will have that dedicated Instagram post for this episode that will be of St. George and the Dragon, of that fountain in the middle of the Germany Pavilion. And also let us know, what is your favorite thing about the Germany Pavilion? Do you go there for the beer? I know we didn't really talk that much about the beer. Of course,
I don't drink beer. So.
Yeah, of course they sell an assortment of German beers. But again, neither of us are big beer drinkers, so I don't really know much about beers. I didn't really go into the depths of like what beers they have and all that detail. But of course they have beer. I feel like that's like one of the number one things that Germany is known for is beer. And I feel like history, just the history of Germany, since it's been such a prominent European country in European history. So
I'm sure somebody out there is a avid follower of the German Pavilion.
For sure. Yeah, let us know, what are we missing? Again, what could I not find on Google? So I would love to know. I'd love to learn more about the German Pavilion, and I'm so excited now to see the German Pavilion in a new light when we go to
next week when we go.
Yes. All right, well, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you all real soon.
Bye.